Alex never expected that a single glance at a phone screen could shatter the foundation of his relationship. He unlocked Emma's phone, and there it was, her new lock screen, a photo of her kissing her ex, Ethan. For a moment, he couldn't breathe. When he confronted her, Emma only laughed, brushing off his shock as if it were nothing more than insecurity. She called it a beautiful memory, something she had every right to keep, and told him he was being dramatic for caring. But beneath her calm smile was a spark of challenge, almost daring him to question her further. What Alex didn't realize was that this moment wasn't just a harmless oversight. It was the first crack in the mask Emma had worn so well. And once that crack appeared, everything hidden behind it, manipulation, double standards, and emotional games, would soon come flooding out. Alex stared at Emma, still trying to make sense of what he had seen, but she only tilted her head slightly, as if his reaction were nothing more than an unnecessary inconvenience. He asked her again, carefully, trying not to sound accusatory, why she had changed her lock screen to a picture of her kissing Ethan. Emma shrugged with a casualness that felt rehearsed, like she had been waiting for this exact moment. She told him it was just an old memory, something from a different time, and insisted that people should be allowed to keep pieces of their past without being judged. Her voice was soft, almost soothing, but there was an undeniable sharpness beneath it. When Alex tried to explain that the picture made him uncomfortable, Emma laughed, not kindly, but dismissively, as if his feelings were a joke only she understood. She told him he was being emotionally immature, a phrase she liked to use any time she wanted him to feel small. Alex felt a sting in his chest, not only because of the picture, but because she had turned the situation around so effortlessly, making him feel guilty for simply expressing discomfort. He took a deep breath and tried again, telling her he respected her past, but didn't understand why she would choose such an intimate photo as her lock screen when she was in a relationship with him now. Emma waved her hand in the air like his logic was too boring to entertain. She said that love should be confident, not possessive, and that if he trusted her, a picture shouldn't bother him. Then, almost mockingly, she added that she would be totally fine if he used a photo of his ex as his lock screen too. The way she said it didn't sound sincere, but more like a challenge, a trap disguised as openness. Alex felt the pressure building inside him, a mix of frustration and confusion, because nothing he said seemed to land. Every attempt to express himself was twisted into proof of his insecurity. Emma then shifted into her usual tactic, superiority through faux wisdom. She told him that adults shouldn't cling to jealousy, that relationships fail because people make everything about themselves, and that he needed to grow emotionally. Alex hated how the conversation made him feel, like his emotions were wrong simply because they weren't convenient for her. He tried to let it go, telling himself that maybe he was overreacting, maybe he really was being too sensitive. But something in Emma's tone lingered in his mind, something cold and calculating, like she enjoyed having this kind of control. As the evening went on, she acted like nothing had happened, humming to herself around the apartment, smiling to her phone, sending messages Alex couldn't see. He watched her, a strange heaviness forming in his chest, realizing that the issue wasn't the photo. It was the way she dismissed him, minimized him, and made him question his own reality. And deep down, even though he didn't want to admit it yet, Alex knew this wasn't the beginning of a small disagreement. It was the beginning of something much darker, something that would test him in ways he never expected. Alex woke up the next morning with the conversation still echoing in his mind, the uneasiness settling into something heavier. He stared at his own phone, wondering why Emma's words bothered him so much, and why her assurance that she'd be fine with him using a picture of his ex felt so rehearsed. For hours, he replayed the exchange, trying to convince himself that maybe this was normal, maybe he really was overthinking, until a certain defiance rose in him, quiet but steady. If Emma claimed she truly didn't mind, then there was no reason for her to react badly. So Alex scrolled through old albums, not looking for anything provocative, just a simple picture of him and Olivia smiling together during better times. It wasn't romantic, nothing close to Emma's photo, but it was still a memory. He set it as his lock screen, placed the phone down, and waited. Emma didn't calm down after the confrontation. If anything, the tension seemed to ignite something reckless inside her, a need to reclaim control in the most public way possible. That afternoon, she opened Instagram, her fingers flying across the screen as if the faster she posted, the faster she could rewrite the narrative in her favor. Her story popped up instantly, a photo of her smiling beside Alex with a caption that read, "Love is trust. My man isn't the jealous type." It was a blatant lie, crafted not to celebrate their relationship, but to shame Alex into silence. Alex saw it and felt a strange mix of disbelief and exhaustion wash over him. She hadn't mentioned the fight. She hadn't mentioned the photo of Ethan. She only framed him as the perfect example of emotional maturity, a standard she had never allowed him to reach. Emma's obsession with controlling the narrative didn't stop on social media. When the online drama failed to swing completely in her favor, she shifted to a more personal battleground: family. She called her mother first, her voice trembling just enough to sound like she was the victim. She claimed Alex had emotionally attacked her, that he had disrespected her boundaries, and that she didn't feel safe being around him. Her mother arrived at the apartment within an hour, expecting chaos, but found Alex sitting quietly on the couch, calmly folding laundry. The disconnect between Emma's dramatic story and the peaceful scene was impossible to ignore. Alex packed his belongings the next morning with a quiet resolve that Emma had never seen in him before. There was no yelling, no final blowout, no dramatic declarations. Just a man who had finally reached his limit. Emma followed him from room to room, her voice rising in panic as she realized he wasn't bluffing this time. She begged, then argued, then accused, switching strategies every few minutes as if one of them might trap him into staying. When none of it worked, her panic hardened into fury. As Alex wheeled his suitcase to the door, Emma shouted that he was abandoning her. She blocked the exit for a moment, tears streaming, insisting he was triggering her abandonment issues. Alex kept his tone calm, repeating that he needed space, that things had gone too far, that calling the police on him was a line he couldn't ignore. When he finally stepped outside, Emma's expression shifted again, this time into something colder. She stormed back inside, slammed the door, and within minutes, her profile picture on every platform changed to an old selfie of her and Ethan. Alex saw it through mutual friends who began messaging him, asking what was going on. He didn't respond. He simply continued, moving his things into a small, temporary apartment a few blocks away. But Emma wasn't done. That evening, she showed up at his building with two friends in tow, claiming they were there to help her get closure. When Alex refused to buzz them in, Emma started texting him nonstop, walls of messages accusing him of cowardice, manipulation, emotional abuse, and betrayal. Her friends chimed in, sending long paragraphs about how he had broken Emma, but their tone wavered when Alex responded once, politely, saying he had footage of everything that happened. After that, the group chat fell silent. Emma shifted tactics again. She reached out to Olivia, determined to pull her into the drama. She sent screenshots, accusations, and a lengthy rant about how Alex had disrespected their relationship by keeping old photos. But Emma didn't expect Olivia's reply. Olivia responded with a single photo, her wedding day. Then a message: "I'm married, Emma. I don't care about Alex or your drama. Leave me out of it." The statement hit Emma harder than any argument with Alex ever had. Within minutes, she tried to twist Olivia's refusal into another attack, sending more messages about women supporting women. But Olivia didn't reply again. Left without an ally, Emma spiraled publicly. She began posting vague breakup quotes online, alternating between calling Alex the love of her life and accusing him of emotional cruelty. She showed up one night outside his new place, crying loudly enough for neighbors to stare, insisting they talk. Alex opened the window just to tell her firmly to go home. She refused, begging him to come down. When he didn't, she threw back every accusation she could think of, saying he was heartless, soulless, and addicted to being the victim. Eventually, her friends dragged her home, tired of the chaos she kept dragging them into. Alex shut the window, feeling both relief and an aching heaviness. The breakup had become a storm he never wanted, but at least now he could see it clearly, without distortion, without gaslighting, without guilt. For the first time in months, he felt like he could finally breathe. Emma's unraveling didn't stop after the breakup. In fact, the distance only seemed to amplify her desperation to regain control of the story. Within days, she flooded social media with long posts accusing Alex of weaponizing equality, claiming he had twisted her words and used them against her in a way that was emotionally violent. Her explanations were tangled, full of contradictions, and strangely specific, as if she were trying to convince herself more than anyone else. At first, a few acquaintances offered sympathy, leaving supportive comments under her posts. But as she kept posting, every few hours, then every hour, the tone of the responses shifted. People began to notice inconsistencies. She would say Alex never respected her feelings, then share screenshots where she belittled his. She would claim he lacked emotional maturity, then reveal messages where she mocked him for expressing his boundaries. The more she tried to expose him, the more she accidentally exposed herself. One night, in a dramatic attempt to justify her anger, she posted a series of old conversations between her and Alex. But instead of painting her as the victim, the screenshots showed her dismissing his concerns, laughing at his discomfort, and manipulating him into apologizing for things he never did. Comments rolled in immediately. Some asked if she had read what she posted. Others gently told her she was making herself look worse. A few were blunt, calling out her double standards directly. Emma deleted and reposted variations of the same rants multiple times, trying to salvage the narrative. Her friends, once loyal defenders, began pulling away. A couple of them messaged Alex privately, apologizing for believing her earlier versions of the story. Another group confronted Emma in the comments, asking why she kept twisting facts and dragging everyone into her drama. Instead of reflecting, Emma lashed out at them too, accusing them of betraying her. Friendships she had spent years building began collapsing within days. Then came the final blow. Ethan, the ex-boyfriend in the infamous lock screen photo, sent her a firm but polite message asking her to remove any posts or pictures that included him. He said he didn't want to be associated with the situation and asked her to stop using their old relationship as a tool in her arguments. Emma tried to spin this as further victimization, claiming even Ethan was turning on her, but no one bought it. Screenshots leaked showing exactly what Ethan said, and it only made the situation more humiliating for her. As the weeks passed, the chaos she created swallowed her whole. She posted less often, but when she did, it was always the same. Vague apologies wrapped in self-defense, acknowledgments laced with blame, reflections twisted into excuses. Eventually, she messaged Alex directly. The apology was long, emotional, and filled with the same contradictions she couldn't escape. She said she was sorry for hurting him, but also insisted he had pushed her to that point. She said she regretted calling the police, but claimed it happened because he made her feel unstable. Even in apology, she couldn't take full responsibility. Alex read the message quietly, then set his phone down without replying. He felt no anger, only clarity. Emma wasn't someone he could help, fix, or save. She was someone trapped in her own cycles, destined to repeat the same patterns until she finally chose to break them herself. And in the months that followed, As mutual friends reported glimpses of her repeating the same behaviors with someone new, Alex realized he had escaped just in time. For the first time in a long while, he wasn't caught in her storm. He was standing far away, watching it from a distance, finally free from its pull. Alex moved on quietly, choosing peace over performance, and for the first time in a long time, life felt steady again. He started focusing on his work, rebuilding his confidence, and reconnecting with friends who had missed the version of him that existed before the chaos. In time, he met someone new, someone kind, grounded, and emotionally honest. Someone who didn't treat conflicts like battles to win, but conversations to understand. With her, Alex learned what a healthy relationship actually felt like, and how different love looked when it wasn't overshadowed by manipulation or fear. Meanwhile, Emma continued drifting from conflict to conflict, repeating her familiar cycle with new people who didn't yet see the pattern. Every few weeks, another dramatic post appeared on her feed, another breakup hinted at, another crisis she claimed had been caused by someone else. The world she tried so hard to control had become a loop she couldn't escape, because she refused to face the truth at the center of it. And so, while Emma spiraled in circles, Alex simply kept moving forward. His story didn't end in bitterness or revenge. It ended in growth, clarity, and a life finally free from the weight of someone else's storms.